I, 31M, and partner, 28F. How do I reclaim my relationship after my girlfriend's best friend took over or make this poly relationship a go with some rules? So, I'm posting this to get some outside perspectives and maybe some advice on how to navigate this situation. My name is Alex, 31 and bi, and I've been married to my wife, Evie, 28 and bi, for almost 4 years now. We've been together for about 7 years in total, and our relationship has always been really solid. We met on Bumble back in 2017, and we clicked right away. She's smart, funny, and just an all-around great person. Early on, Evie came out to me as bisexual, which I fully supported. I was the first person she confided in, and I helped her come out to her family and friends. Over time, we joke about her being attracted to women, maybe point out someone we thought was attractive, but it was always just casual talk. Our marriage felt strong, and I didn't think anything could shake that foundation. We both have always been great at confining each other. We were really good in communication and just a safe space. Had tons of vulnerable conversations, and we both supported each other. But things started to change around 2023 when Evie started getting close with a coworker who just started, Kira. They hit it off right away, and at first, I didn't think much of it. To me, this was amazing that she made a new friend and started having a social life. As we moved away from our country, it was much harder for her to meet our friends. I knew this had a toll on her, but soon enough, they were spending more time together. Texts, drinks after work, the usual. I didn't feel threatened. I thought it was just Evie making a new friend. Then, one night, I think it was around October 2023, after a few drinks, the topic of threesomes came up. It was a joke at first, didn't give it much thought as we were not looking for it, and were content with just us. But Kira messaged me a few days later asking if I was serious. After some back and forth, I agreed, thinking it could be something fun and experimental for our relationship. Evie never really got a chance to explore that part of being attracted to another woman. However, I forgot to point out Kira told me she was queer, though. She's a lesbian, and now thinking about it, I think she said that to get to my wife without it sounding like it was cheating. I was confused how that would work, so that's why I thought it was a joke. But she seemed serious, she'll be down for it. But as she has never been with a guy, she said would it be okay if I get to her Evie more first so I'm comfortable. Looking back, I think she was manipulating me to get close to my wife. I'm such AF asterisk 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 I'm the idiot weary face. I don't know exactly when, but late 2023. One night, I came home early to find Evie and Kira on the couch, in the middle of something. The two didn't feel guilty as Kira explained I gave her blessing. However, later Evie knew this was affecting me and said we can stop. We talked about it, but finding out as part of the process from Evie's words, I reluctantly agreed. A year passed. We did have a couple of threesomes in the end. Nothing spectacular. The last we had, I did feel pushed out as Kira was on top making out with my wife and pushed me away and took over. But this was on like a one-time thing, because they still spend time with each other. And then, Kira's lease ended, and Evie asked if she could move in temporarily. I wasn't exactly thrilled about it, but I agreed. That was when things started getting complicated. Kira became a permanent part of our lives, and I couldn't ignore the fact that Evie and she were becoming much closer, to a point where she's sharing a bed with her on most nights. But we didn't spend as much time together as we did, and she seemed to be cuddling up to Kira when we watched a film more often. Then, in December 2024, Evie told me she was pregnant. We've been trying for years, it's not been successful until now, so I was excited at first. This is the best news possible, smiling face with hearts, but things took another turn when Evie told me she had developed romantic feelings for Kira and wanted her to be her girlfriend and be poly. She was honest with me about being in love with both of us, and she wasn't sure how this was going to work, but was determined to make it work somehow. Evie suggested counseling as she knew my concerns and wanted to make me happy, but she couldn't dismiss her love for her girlfriend. Plus, she wants Kira to be involved as a co-parent. Kira always wanted to be a mom. TBH, reading some of your comments, I do feel like I was treated like a sperm donor, hence why we had more than one threesome. Has anyone else dealt with something like this? How do you navigate these feelings when the boundaries start to blur and your relationship changes in ways you didn't expect? Any advice would be appreciated. Update October 1st, 2025. First, thank you all for your support, advice, and perspectives on my original post. It's been a whirlwind of emotions, but reading your responses has given me clarity and strength. After taking some time to reflect, Evie and I had a heart-to-heart. I opened up about how overwhelmed and sidelined I've been feeling and shared my concerns about how her relationship with Kira has affected our dynamic and the future we're building with our baby. It wasn't an easy conversation, but it felt good to lay everything on the table. Evie admitted that her feelings for Kira have deepened in ways she didn't fully anticipate, and she acknowledged how challenging it's been to navigate her love for both of us. She apologized for how her actions over the past year made me feel. She was upset that I hadn't spoken up sooner. She reminded me how much she values our marriage and said she's determined to fix this. As a first step, Evie suggested we prioritize date nights once a week to reconnect and ensure we have time together without any distractions. She also committed to us sleeping in bed together most nights and others with her girlfriend, but mostly when I leave for a shoot. If we ever have another threesome, which she doubts, given Kira's sexuality, she promised to ensure I'd never feel left out again. Evie also acknowledged that Kira staying at our house every day is creating tension and understands it can be toxic as Kira feels the same way. She plans to talk to Kira about either getting her place or spending less time in our home. She wants our space to feel like a home for us as a couple, even as we figure out how Kira fits into our lives. However, she made it clear, Kira is here to stay in her life. To move forward, Evie proposed we start couples therapy, and I fully agreed. We want to handle this situation with care and thoughtfulness, especially with a baby on the way. Evie also promised to have a conversation with Kira about boundaries, and we agreed to have a joint discussion later to ensure everyone's on the same page. But things came to a head when Kira confronted me. She accused me of being insecure and not trusting Evie to make her own decisions. She claimed I was trying to force Evie into something that benefits me, and that if I truly loved Evie, I'd be more supportive of her needs. This time, I stood my ground. I told Kira that this wasn't about insecurity or competition. It was about the fact that Evie and I are married, building a life together, and expecting a child. I made it clear that while I'm willing to adapt to this new dynamic, I won't tolerate being sidelined or disrespected. I also recognize she's also building a life with Kira and I can't change that. If I was insecure, I would make her break up. I care about my wife's feelings. If she cared about Evie, she would do the same or F off. At that moment, Evie stepped in and stood up for both of us. She made it clear to Kira that I'm her husband and the father of her child, and that my feelings matter just as much as theirs. She told Kira she didn't want me to feel like an outsider in my own marriage. As she spoke, it felt like a weight was lifted, even just a little. It had been so long since I felt like she was truly putting our marriage and my feelings first. But then she also made sure to stand up for Kira. She acknowledged the love she has for her, too, and said that she wouldn't allow Kira to feel dismissed or neglected in this situation either. I could see that she genuinely loved her, and I appreciated her balancing both of our feelings in that moment. Hearing her say that, especially with the baby on the way, brought a wave of relief. It wasn't perfect, but it made me feel like maybe we could find a way through this. For the first time in a while, I smiled, something I hadn't done in ages. Kira and I had a long conversation about everything, and she apologized for how she reacted earlier. She admitted feeling insecure and assured me that wasn't her intention. She's thinking about getting her own place eventually, but wants to remain part of Evie's life as her girlfriend and help raise the baby. She wants to make this work, so she's willing to be friends with me and respect my boundaries as we figure things out. I'm just trying to stay focused on what's best for the baby and all of us moving forward. For now, I'm focusing on therapy and preparing for the arrival of our baby. I'll continue to update as things progress. Your advice and encouragement have been a lifeline, and I can't thank you all enough for helping me find my voice. What do you guys think about everything?